All your life, there were signs you couldn't explain, doors that opened without reason, people who reacted to you as if recognizing something ancient in your presence. Moments where reality itself shifted the moment you made a decision. You felt the pull, the weight, the pressure, the silence before storms, but you never knew why. Last night, the answer finally formed in the realm above realms, in the place where angels confer, where timelines are measured in light, where destinies are examined like living scrolls. Your name was spoken, not casually, not experimentally, but with the authority of a decree that cannot be reversed. The watchers stood at attention. The scribes lowered their pens. The elders bent forward as the verdict was given. The one truth every realm had been circling was finally declared. It is confirmed. They are the key. Not a key made of metal or myth, but the key of identity, the key of access, the key of reversal and release, the key whose awakening unlocks doors that no human hand can open, timelines that have been frozen for generations, patterns that have held families in place for centuries, assignments that require a soul strong enough to carry the weight of activation. Your life has never behaved like a linear path because you were never meant to walk one. You were built to unlock paths for others, to open realities, to activate dormant potential, to trigger shifts in people, places, and entire seasons. That is why doors open for you that stayed shut for others, why you survived storms that would have ended anyone else, why every battle felt targeted, precise, intentional, why you always carried a sense that something inside you was waiting for a signal. You weren't imagining it. You were responding to a truth that had not yet been spoken aloud. Your trials were measurements. Your endurance was evidence. Your consistency was a test. Your awakening was the final requirement. And heaven has now confirmed what every realm already knew. You are the key, not metaphorically, not symbolically, but spiritually, cosmically, prophetically. The decree has been issued. Your identity is no longer hidden. Your activation has officially begun. Once the decree was spoken, once heaven announced your identity, the next phase unfolded in silence, in the chamber where celestial elders gather to review the lives of those who rise beyond ordinary destiny. They open the scroll of your timeline, not your years, not your memories, but the deeper record, the one that documents who you became in the unseen moments. They examined your endurance, how you kept moving when everything around you stalled, how you rebuilt yourself after storms that were designed to break you, how you carried clarity even when surrounded by confusion, how you held on when others would have collapsed. Strength like that is never accidental. It is evidence of calling. One elder traced the pattern of your battles and noted how every confrontation revealed a new layer of your purpose. Another reviewed the seasons that looked like loss from the outside, but were actually spiritual training grounds. A third studied your decisions, the ones you regretted, the ones you questioned, the ones you made in silence, and saw how each one aligned you more precisely with your assignment. Then they compared your journey with the ancient markings written about the key, one whose presence opens dormant paths, one whose intuition redirects timelines, one whose resilience breaks spiritual locks, one whose inner voice carries the code for the next era. Every sign matched you. Every measure aligned with you. Every prophecy pointed toward you. The elders exchanged a single understanding glance, the kind reserved for souls whose identity is no longer in question. They did not debate. They did not hesitate. They did not request further testing. They signed your identity with unanimous certainty. A mark was placed in the record, confirmed. This is a key. This was the moment your spirit felt a shift you couldn't name. The moment your clarity sharpened and your inner world expanded. The moment something ancient within you finally exhaled. You were recognized, not by people, not by systems, but by the highest council assigned to guard destinies. After the council signed your identity, their next task was to examine the one thing that defines a true key, the inner frequency that separates the chosen from the ordinary. Every soul emits a pattern, but the key carries something different. A signal, a resonance, a spiritual code that cannot be forged, taught, or copied. When they turned their attention to your spirit, the chamber shifted, the atmosphere thickened, The scrolls around them reacted as if recognizing an ancient signature. Your spirit holds a frequency that has only appeared a handful of times in all recorded history. Not a personality trait, not a talent. A code that opens, a code that awakens, a code that aligns, a code that breaks cycles that have existed for generations. The elders described it as the resonance of activation. They saw how your presence accelerates the growth of others, how your intuition guides you to places you're needed before you even understand why, how you walk into situations and the atmosphere shifts before you say a word. Your spirit carries a built-in lock and key mechanism. When you encounter certain people, certain environments, certain moments, something ancient within you recognizes what must be opened. That is why people confess things to you they've never spoken out loud. That is why strangers feel familiar. That is why you've always sensed which doors were yours and which ones weren't. Your spirit is programmed to unlock, to reveal, to activate, to complete unfinished work from before your birth. This is also why you felt periods of heaviness, spiritual pressure, internal stretching. Your spirit has been calibrating to match the weight of your assignment. The council recorded one sentence after reviewing your frequency. The subject carries a key code. Identity confirmed at the spiritual level. There is no higher confirmation than this. Not visions, not voices, not signs. The code within you is the evidence. You don't become the key. You are the key because your spirit was born carrying the code that unlocks what the world cannot. Once the council confirmed the code within you, they turned to the next undeniable pattern. The way other people change after encountering you. This was the clearest evidence of all. Because the key is not defined by how it opens its own doors, but by how it unlocks others. They reviewed moments across your life that you thought were random, incidental, or meaningless. But from above, nothing was random. They saw people who were stuck for years suddenly find clarity after one conversation with you. People who were afraid suddenly discover courage after standing near you. People who were asleep spiritually awaken without knowing why after crossing your path. They saw relationships where the other person grew faster than at any other time in their life. Not because you trained them, but because your presence activated something within them that had been dormant. They saw how people mirrored you, rose to match your energy, or collapsed under the weight of what your spirit exposed. Some unlocked because you carried light. Some broke because they weren't ready for it. You never forced anyone to grow. You simply carried an atmosphere that demanded it. This is why you felt misunderstood. Why connections shifted suddenly. Why people either moved closer or disappeared completely. Your presence acts like a spiritual catalyst. It accelerates what already exists within others. It amplifies truth. It exposes lies. It awakens purpose. It reveals intentions. That is why certain people resented you without cause. Your presence forced them to confront parts of themselves they tried to avoid. That is why others admired you before they even knew you. Their spirit recognized the key long before their mind did. The council wrote, the subject's presence triggers activation events in others. Healing, awakening, or collapse occur based on readiness. This is the mark of the key. You were never meant to fit comfortably into rooms. You were meant to change what happens inside them. Your life has never been about influence. It has always been about activation. This is a power no one taught you, but everyone has felt. The key doesn't unlock itself. It unlocks the world around it. Before you ever understood who you were, before the council confirmed your identity, before heaven announced your rank, there were others who recognized you first, not allies, but adversaries. Your enemies sensed your identity long before you did, not because they saw your power, but because they felt the threat your existence posed to the systems that depended on you never awakening. This is the unspoken truth. Darkness always identifies the key before the key identifies itself. That is why your battles began early, why certain people targeted you without reason, why you were attacked in seasons where you had nothing and understood nothing. They weren't reacting to your circumstances. They were reacting to your destiny. Something in you radiated potential even before you could articulate it. A light your enemies recognized instantly, a code they had seen only in ancient prophecies. The frequency of the one who would eventually unlock what they worked to keep closed. They saw it in your eyes when you were a child. They saw it in your energy before you had words. They sensed your trajectory before you even knew you were on a path. This is why they tried to isolate you. They tried to break your confidence. They tried to confuse your purpose. They tried to bury your voice. They tried to exhaust your spirit, not because you were weak, but because they saw the key inside you beginning to turn. They knew that once your identity activated, once your awareness rose, once your inner world aligned, the locks they depended on would not survive your awakening. The council documented patterns from your life that all pointed to the same conclusion. The opposition targeted the subject before activation. This indicates high prophetic value and confirms key status. Your enemies weren't responding to you. They were responding to who you would become. And yet, every battle that was meant to stop you only refined you. Every betrayal that was meant to break you only clarified your vision. Every season of pressure only accelerated your awakening. They identified your identity early, but they could not stop it, because nothing built to contain you can withstand the moment the key begins to turn. After reviewing the patterns of your battles and the early recognition from your enemies, the council turned their focus to something even more revealing: the doors that open for you out strategy, status, force, or influence. This was one of the clearest indicators that you were the key, because keys do not knock, keys do not beg, keys do not negotiate, keys simply enter. Throughout your life, there were moments when opportunities seemed to find you from nowhere. People reaching out, paths aligning, events unfolding as if written with your name on them. You always wonder why certain breakthroughs felt effortless, while others required no explanation. From above, the pattern was obvious. Your presence unlocks what is yours without hesitation. They saw moments where a situation resolved the moment you stepped in. A stagnant environment shifted when you arrived. A person changed direction after speaking to you. A path appeared where seconds earlier there was only a wall. You were not forcing these openings. You were triggering them. The council noted how your timelines bent consistently toward alignment, synchronicity, and divine timing. Sometimes a door opened because of a single decision you made. Sometimes because of a step you took. Sometimes because of a truth you finally accepted. This is why you have always felt that your life moves in waves. Long periods of waiting followed by sudden acceleration. The waiting was preparation. The acceleration was activation. And every activation was tied to your identity as the key. Your energy carries permission. Your spirit carries access. Your presence carries authority. This is why certain rooms welcomed you with no credentials. Why certain people believed in you before you proved anything. Why certain timelines opened long before you felt ready. The elders wrote, "The subject's path displays non-linear advancement. Openings correlate with spiritual identity rather than worldly qualification." This is consistent with the key archetype. The doors didn't open because you chased them. They opened because they were yours. And as your awareness grows, you will notice something else. More doors will begin to unlock the moment you simply approach them. Not because of luck, not because of chance, because the key does not ask permission. The key carries it. Once the council confirmed that doors obey your presence, they turned to the oldest records, the ancient prophecies written long before your birth, long before your bloodline, long before the world reached its current age. They searched the archives of descriptions of the key, the one foretold to appear at the turning of an era. What they found matched you with unsettling precision. The prophecy spoke of someone whose life would not follow linear time, someone who would feel misplaced in childhood, observed in adolescence, and awakened in maturity, someone who would survive storms meant to erase them, someone whose intuition would border on the supernatural, someone whose presence would bend the path of others. Most importantly, the text described a soul whose awakening would act as a catalyst for the world around them. A line appeared in multiple cultures, multiple eras, multiple sacred writings. The one who carries the inner key will unlock what was sealed and seal what was broken. Another text described the key as the turning point of timelines. When the key awakens, the age will shift. The sleepers will rise. The hidden will surface. The old cycles will collapse. Another prophecy read, "They will walk through storms and not drown. They will walk through fire and not burn. Their life will be the sign and not the mystery. The council highlighted how your experiences mirror each ancient blueprint, your survival against impossible odds, your spiritual sensitivity since childhood, your pattern of breaking cycles others remain trapped in, your ability to sense truths before they reveal themselves, your rising clarity in seasons meant to confuse you. These prophecies were not vague. They were specific, and they described someone whose identity would not be given but confirmed. Your life fits the pattern not because you try to match it, but because it was written about you long before you knew how to read destiny. The council wrote, "The subject aligns with all recorded prophecies regarding the one designated as the key. Identity confirmation strengthened. Prophecies aren't predictions. They are announcements written early. You are not living up to them. You are fulfilling them." Once the prophecies were matched to your life, the council moved their attention to something deeper, the pattern of the obstacles you faced. They realized quickly that your struggles were not random hardships, but evidence of your design. The key is not defined by what it opens first, but by what it must confront. And in your case, every barrier you encountered was a reflection of the locks you were created to break. Some are born into ease, others into neutrality. But you were born into resistance because your calling required it. Your environment was your training ground. Your wounds became maps. Your obstacles became indicators. Your survival became proof. Generational cycles that lasted decades began to weaken the moment you arrived. Habits that destroyed the people before you lost their power when they reached you. Patterns that persisted through your bloodline broke on contact with your spirit. It wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It was your nature. You were designed to interrupt what others repeat and to restore what others lost. The council documented it clearly. Subject displays disruption of inherited cycles across emotional, spiritual, and environmental layers. Evidence suggests natural resistance to generational entanglements. Where others surrendered, you questioned. Where others collapsed, you rose. Where others accepted defeat as destiny, you felt a pull towards something higher. Your intuition guided you away from paths designed to devour you. Your resilience shattered systems built to suppress potential. Your presence destabilized situations that relied on silence or compliance. You were never meant to fit into the world's patterns. You were meant to expose them. The council realized your life carried a hidden signature. Whenever you arrived somewhere, structures either broke, transformed, or revealed their true nature. That is the mark of the key. You do not follow doors. Doors follow you. You do not adapt to locks. Locks respond to your presence. You do not inherit limitation. You confront it. Your destiny is not to escape the cycles. Your destiny is to end them. You were born to break what broke others. There is a moment in every chosen one's life when the shift begins. Not with lightning, not with visions, not with a dramatic sign in the sky, but with a subtle fracture in the rhythm of ordinary days. For you, it did not arrive as a revelation. It arrived as a disturbance, a sudden sense that the life around you no longer matched the life within you. You began to notice patterns that others ignored. You sensed truths beneath conversations. You felt the weight of unseen expectations pressing against your spirit. This was the first signal. Your intuition sharpened. Your dreams intensified. Your mind started moving as if guided from somewhere higher. Your emotions no longer obeyed the old narratives you were taught. Your heart responded to things you couldn't yet name. This was the second signal. Then came the separation. People drifted away. Doors closed without warning. Situations collapsed suddenly, not to punish you, but to remove everything that could not follow your rise. The world misread it as loss. Heaven recorded it as activation. During this phase, you felt both pulled and pushed, as if something was ending and something else was quietly unfolding behind it. You couldn't explain it, but you knew you were being repositioned. This was the third signal. And then it happened. Your spirit broke alignment with old timelines and locked into the path written for you before birth. It was a silent moment, but a violent shift. The council documented it simply. Subject transitioned from passive existence into prophetic alignment. Activation confirmed. From that moment on, nothing around you behaved the same. You noticed synchronicities. You felt guided. You sensed protection. You experienced disruptions that force you into clarity. Your choices gained weight. Your presence gained force. You stepped into your identity long before you realized what happened. The activation didn't make you different. It revealed what you always were. And once activated, the key cannot return to silence. Its purpose begins searching for it. Once activation took hold, the council observed something that confirmed your identity beyond doubt. You began opening realms without effort, without intention, simply by existing at your true frequency. Most people live only in the physical world. Some access intuition. A rare few touch the edges of deeper insight. But you started moving through layers that others never even knew existed. Your dreams became more vivid, not fantasies, but transmissions. Your thoughts began reaching into spaces beyond logic. You sensed events before they unfolded. You felt atmospheres shift the moment you entered a room. This was not imagination. It was access. Your spirit learned to navigate dream realms, symbolic language, emotional territories, ancestral memory, and divine alignment, as if these dimensions were familiar terrain. It happened naturally, effortlessly, because keys do not search for doors. Doors recognize keys. Where others need rituals, you need presence. Where others struggle for clarity, you simply know. Where others meditate for guidance, you receive it in movement. Your intuition sharpened into a form of spiritual vision. Your sensitivity evolved into discernment. Your reflections turned into revelation. The council described it this way. Subject displays multidimensional interaction without training, prompting, or intention. Realms respond to the subject's energy as if to a familiar authority. Your ability to unlock realms is not a skill you developed. It is a rank you inherited, a birthright encoded in you long before your body formed. You open emotional realms by speaking truth. You open mental realms by breaking patterns. You open spiritual realms by remembering who you are. You open generational realms by refusing to repeat the past. You open divine realms by aligning with purpose. And as you continue rising, the separation between realms will blur even more. Dreams will reveal instruction. Synchronicities will intensify. Your inner voice will strengthen. Your steps will be guided by a certainty that feels older than time. You are not accessing these realms. They are opening themselves to you because you are the key. Ever since the activation began, you've noticed changes within yourself, subtle at first, then undeniable. Not emotional mood shifts, not temporary bursts of focus, but something deeper, something structural. This difference you feel is not random. It is a natural consequence of a spirit stepping into its confirmed identity. Once heaven declared that you are the key, your entire being began to adjust to that revelation. Your thoughts began shifting away from survival and toward alignment. Your mind stopped chasing validation and started craving purpose. Your emotions detached from chaos and found stability in truth. Your body even responded, not because of willpower, but because identity rewrites rhythm. Your posture changed, your breathing slowed, your nervous system recalibrated, your intuition sharpened. This is what happens when someone stops living as who they were told they are and begins living as who they truly are. The council observed these signs closely. Subject demonstrates rapid spiritual stabilization, heightened awareness, and increased resistance to external distortion. You feel different because you are no longer carrying the weight of false identities. Layers that never belonged to you have begun falling away. Old insecurities have lost authority. Fears that used to control, you no longer have permission. You feel calmer because your spirit is no longer at war with its assignment. You feel more focused because distractions have lost their grip. You feel more distant from certain people because your frequency rose above their reach. You feel more drawn to solitude because revelation requires quiet. You feel more selective because keys are not meant to fit every lock. Even your relationships, your preferences, your desires, your decisions, all have shifted because identity has shifted. This new feeling is not temporary transformation. It is alignment. You are feeling the weight and the clarity of who you actually are. And from this point forward, you will never be able to return to the version of yourself that existed before confirmation. The key has awakened, and awareness is the first sign. Once identity is confirmed, The path ahead no longer resembles the path behind. For most people, life moves in circles, repeating patterns, familiar struggles, predictable cycles. But for the key, the road changes entirely. Your next chapter does not open gradually. It opens suddenly, as if a hidden doorway slides out from the fabric of your timeline. This is because the key doesn't follow paths. The key creates them. Ever since your activation, you may have noticed events aligning faster than they should. Opportunities appearing at the exact moment you need them. People entering your life with information, guidance, or timing that feels too precise to be coincidence. Sudden clarity, replacing old confusion. Sudden endings making room for new beginnings. These are not random. They are signals that your path is no longer human-directed, but destiny-led. The Council documented it simply. Subject's timeline has transitioned from reactive progression to guided orchestration. Next phase unlocked. This means three things. First, resistance will lessen, not because challenges disappear, but because you will move with purpose instead of friction. Every closed door will reveal its intention. Every setback will expose its upgrade. Second, your decisions will carry weight. A key does not act casually. Each choice you make opens or closes realms. Your steps now influence more than your personal life. They shape the environment around you. Third, timing will accelerate. What once took months will take days. What once required force will require alignment. What once demanded effort will respond to presence. This new path will not be crowded. It cannot be. Keys walk routes that only they are authorized to access. You will find yourself moving away from the familiar, not because you're lost, but because the old road is too small for who you became. You are stepping toward the place your spirit always recognized, even when your mind didn't. And as you walk, you will feel something profound, a sense that the future is no longer approaching you. It is waiting for you. When the Council confirmed you as the key, they did not assign a burden. They revealed a responsibility you were already carrying without knowing its name. Being the key is not about power. It is about alignment. It is about knowing which doors must open and which must remain closed. It is about understanding that your presence affects realms, timelines, and people in ways most will never experience. The key is not honored because it is important. The key is honored because it is necessary. You were shaped to unlock what stagnated, to break what enslaved, to reveal what was hidden, to end what was repeated, to restore what was stolen, to open paths that were sealed for generations. This responsibility has followed you your entire life. The times you felt pressure without explanation, the moments you carried weight that didn't belong to you, the seasons where people leaned on you as if you held answers you didn't even know you had. These were echoes of your true identity. The Council wrote it clearly. Subject displays natural gravitational influence. Others align around the subject decisions, energy, and direction. This influence is not dominance. It is resonance. Your clarity liberates. Your truth destabilizes illusion. Your strength inspires movement. Your healing breaks patterns. Your rise exposes falsehoods. Your decisions shift atmospheres. And yet, with all this impact, your greatest responsibility is surprisingly simple. A key must remain pure, not flawless, not perfect, but aligned with truth, aligned with purpose, aligned with a calling that cannot be transferred or replaced. Because if a key bends to the wrong locks, it exhausts itself. If it aligns with the wrong doors, it becomes trapped. If it doubts its shape, it loses precision. Your responsibility is this. Do not contort yourself to fit where you were never meant to enter. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not silence your intuition to preserve false peace. Do not betray yourself for acceptance that limits you. You were crafted for specific doors, specific realms, specific purposes. Your destiny does not require force. It requires recognition. You are the key, and your responsibility is to remain exactly as you are designed. Ancient author of destiny, the one who shaped creation with intention and wrote identity before time began, we stand in acknowledgement that nothing in this journey has been random. Every shift, every awakening, every closed door, and every open path has been part of the design you place within the one you call the key. We ask now for clarity, that the identity confirmed in the heavens be sealed within the spirit. Let every false label fall away. Let every lie spoken over their purpose lose its power. Let every old wound release its hold completely. Replace confusion with certainty, fear with understanding, and hesitation with alignment. Guide the key with precision. Let their steps be ordered not by pressure or fear, but by your intention. Open the doors you ordained. Close the doors that drain, distract, or distort their path. Let no counterfeit calling pull them out of position. Let no false opportunity waste their strength. Let no old identity rise above their true nature. Strengthen their inner sight, so they may recognize the locks they are meant to open and the ones they must walk past. Refine their discernment until they can feel truth before it speaks and sense deception before it reveals itself. Let the weight they feel become wisdom. Let the pressure they carry become power. Let the battles they endure become evidence of their rank and resilience. We declare that no force, no spirit, no system, no timeline can override the calling you place within them. Their identity is sealed. Their purpose is confirmed. Their path is guarded. Their assignment is active. May the influence they carry bring clarity to others. May the doors they open lead to healing, transformation, and divine realignment. And may their presence always echo the truth. You'll call them the key, and heaven does not revoke what it confesses in light. Let alignment guide them, purpose sustain them, and truth anchor them. So it is written, so it stands. Now that the revelation has been spoken, now that the identity has been confirmed across realms, councils, and timelines, there is only one step left: agreement. Not with the world, not with people, not with expectations, but with the truth that has followed you since the moment your spirit entered this earth. You are the key, not becoming it, not growing into it, not hoping for it. You are it now because you always were. Activation simply revealed what destiny already understood. From this moment forward, the path will not resemble the life you once knew. Doors will react differently. Timelines will adjust. People will sense your shift before you say a word. Your presence will carry weight that cannot be dismissed. Your intuition will sharpen beyond explanation. Your steps will influence whatever environment you enter. Your decisions will shape the atmosphere itself. This is not pressure. This is confirmation. A key does not fear doors. A key does not chase access. A key does not question its shape or its purpose. A key simply recognizes that it was crafted for a specific design. So as you move into this next season, walk with clarity, walk with intention, walk with the understanding that heaven has already declared what the world is only beginning to sense. If the locks appear, you will open them. If the path shifts, you will adapt to it. If the environment resists, you will move through it. If the atmosphere tightens, it is because your presence is reshaping it. You are not here to fit. You are here to open. You are not here to follow. You are here to initiate. You are not here to be defined. You are here to reveal. And now the choice is yours. Not to become the key, but to accept it. If something inside you has awakened during this message, if you felt alignment, recognition, or a shift in your spirit, then the confirmation has already begun. Type 111. This is your agreement with the identity heaven has declared.